Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Allen, CUIB Board Chair, and we are convening this meeting today, January 15th, uh, via teleconference and also at 2400 Venture Oaks Way, room 400 in Sacramento. Um, I've been instructed that under the government code that I have no other person 18 years old or younger or older in the room with me. I'm here in my personal office conducting the meeting. I'm so grateful that I can be with you because I'm a little bit under the weather, but I'm looking forward to us having a productive meeting today. Um, we are now in open session. The board will accept public comment on any agenda item or any other matter under its jurisdiction. Speakers are asked to limit their testimony to approximately 5 minutes on each agenda item or any other matter under its jurisdiction not listed on the agenda. The order of the agenda may be changed to accommodate the board or the public. With that, I'll begin the roll call for attendance. Michael Allen, Chair, in attendance. So we'll do a roll call. Other members, please.
Laura Kent Manning, present.
Board Member Mike Ing, present.
Robert Wachowski, present.
Great. With that, I will ask the board members if they had an opportunity to review the minutes of the meeting of December 11th, 2024. And I would ask for a roll call vote to approve those minutes of December 11th. I will begin the roll call with approving them with a yes. Aye.
Kent Manning, aye.
Mike Ing, aye.
Robert Wachowski, aye.
Thank you, board members. With my report, I'll begin with that since our last meeting, the board closed over 916 cases. 848 of those cases were done with the California Appeals Management System, and 68 were done under the old legacy system that is still being utilized as we finalize our transition. I just would like to report that I had a very instructive and cordial meeting with the governor's office regarding my confirmation as board chair, and then I was given the opportunity to have a long, extensive interview and questions and answers regarding the functioning of our agency with the Senate Rules Committee. And I just wanted to convey to you that in that meeting, I conveyed my immense appreciation for our judges, all the support staff, our managerial staff, our chief administrative judge, appeals judge, and also that I've been blessed with an incredibly diligent and excellent board to work with. And I just wanted to share that with you because I'm very proud of our agency, and I feel like we've encountered quite a bit over the last few years and have risen to every challenge that has faced us. And so with that, just conveying my immense thanks to all the folks who work for our agency and who are serving the people of California with us now, having dealt with the crisis with the pandemic, and of course, I know that speaking for all board members, our hearts are going out to the people of Southern California, Los Angeles, with the fires, and our hearts are with them. And I can only tell you, as a survivor of two wildfires where I had to evacuate, I feel very intensely on a personal level what they're going through. The loss of homes, lives disruption is a terrible situation. So we're there for the people of California and Southern California in that ongoing emergency. With that, I'll turn it over to other board members for their reports and comments.
Thank you, Chair Allen. No official report. Thank you to you for updating us on your confirmation process, and wish you the best of luck as that goes forward. And just to echo what you said, I wanted to just recognize all of our judges and staff and colleagues in Southern California. I know there have been office closures and so much loss down there. The scale is, quite hard to comprehend, but we are thinking of everyone down there, and our hearts are with you, like you said, during this terrible time. So I just wanted to recognize that. Thank you.
Member Ing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to thank everyone who inquired about me and my family regarding the January 7th fires that has greatly impacted Southern California, and fires that continue to burn and impact many communities. I did have a concern about the Pasadena Appeals Office, which is very, very close to the Eaton fire, and I'm grateful to Chief Kutri for immediately contacting the presiding judge, Wayland there, and others to ensure the safety of that office. And I anticipate a bit of a more comment there with Judge Kutri's report. I visited the Pasadena office yesterday and spoke with the presiding judge, Wayland, and several other judges, and I was grateful that even though the office was closed for several days due to the air quality, it was able to reopen fully yesterday, thanks to some updated air scrubbers. And I really much, they appreciate the concerns that they received, and I'm sure Chief Kutri will have a more full report on that. Nothing further to report. Thank you.
Thank you. And Member Wachowski.
I have no report.
I would ask, is there any public comment at this time on our agenda?
I have no hands raised for public comment at this time.
Thank you. With that, we'll go to the report of Judge Kutri, our Chief Executive Officer, and ALJ. Update on the state of the agency and field workload.
Good morning, Chair Allen and board members. I usually start with field office updates and workload, but I think it's appropriate to start with a follow-up to Member Ng's comments about our Los Angeles employees and the public we serve there. I'd like to thank Member Ng for his immediate participation in reaching out to the Pasadena office to ensure their welfare. Like all of the state and nation, all of our branches here at CUIAB have been monitoring the fires very closely since they started, and in an effort to both support our employees, their families, and the communities, and maintain continuity of operations for all the public that we serve in that region. Many of our employees in Greater Los Angeles were impacted by evacuation. As mentioned by Member Ng, the Pasadena office was closed for a period of time from last Wednesday. It attempted to open Monday, but air conditions were such that they had to close again, but they did open completely and fully to the public yesterday. So it is fully staffed at this time. As with all emergencies, impacts on public service were greatly mitigated by telework and assistance from other offices wherever possible. We'd like to thank all of the state's field offices for their immediate and generous support to Pasadena. They all jumped in with requests and to help and offers to help, and so it really made the public's experience through all of this relatively seamless, so we thank them for that. As with all state emergencies, we're working closely with the labor agency to track and report all of the impacts to our employees, to the public, and implement any new directives that come along. So obviously that region is in a great state of flux still, so we're tracking very closely what's going on so that we can maximize our continuity to public service. In December, I'll get to workload briefly. In December, our average appeal intake from EDD rose by 12%. This was the first variation of more than a single digit in over a year. It's not an overly concerning amount by itself, but we'll be tracking this trend and see what happens over the next couple of months. And we'll have a better idea of whether this is a short or longer term trend in February and March. Largely, the new appeals or the increase in appeals was a result of some overpayments issued on the Federal CARES Act benefits. So it resulted in an uptake or an uptick rather in our inventory of those cases. So you'll notice that our percentages of pandemic unemployment assistance and pandemic extensions went up in terms of our total inventory. So as those cases work their way through the system, we'll be tracking that to see if that percentage changes markedly for any sustained period of time. Even though December was and is typically a low appeal disposition month because of the holidays, it was higher than in November, and we further reduced open appeals in the field by over 2,100 cases and issued over 21,000 decisions in the field. The case age was again reduced by 4 more days to just over 57 days. And our total open inventory is in all cases is just over 57,000 cases. 42,000 of those are in UI and PUA. down from 164,000 in January of 2023. So a marked reduction. In connection with the increased appeal inventory, we moved another 800 cases among the field offices for hearings to try to normalize appeal wait time. And so that continues to be a very effective means to serve the public in that respect. I promised a very brief retrospective of 2024, and coming up in April, I'll give a retrospective since 2020 of the amount of work that the field offices and the board have done since the pandemic began. But with respect to 2024, field offices issued just over 312,000 decisions in the calendar year 2024. Reduced the open inventory of appeals from just over 96,000 cases to just over 55,000 cases. Perhaps most importantly, in terms of appeal wait times, we reduced our average case age from 138 days to just over 57 days. As a benchmark for the national comparison, the national case average went up in the last month to 193 days. This is a remarkable achievement in one calendar year, and we hope to continue that in 2025. I've touched upon the office closures of significance since the last meeting, and I don't have any security items to discuss today, so I'll end my comments there and take any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Judge Kutry. I'll begin with our Vice Chair Monning if she has any questions.
No questions. Thank you for that, and appreciate the retrospective. It's really helpful to kind of take a moment to see all the incredible work that has happened in 2024. It's wonderful. So thank you.
No questions.
I just have, Chair Allen, I have one question on best practices. I assume during the campfire and all the other fires, we had impacts on claimants and maybe employers appearing at hearings and all that. Are there guidances that we can use now in the greater Los Angeles area?
Yes. So our offices, unfortunately, became quite adept at pivoting from in-office work to telework by necessity. So all of the same practices that we had beginning in 2020, if you'll recall, in 2020, we pivoted very quickly to telephone work because of the pandemic, but also had periods of civil unrest and dramatic wildfires. So the playbook remains the same. We follow the event. We communicate with the office directly and immediately, and then they pivot to telework to the extent they can. And then we have a system in place to reroute all of their telephone calls to other offices. And all of that can be accomplished in a very short amount of time. So there are always some impacts to hearings and public service when it happens, but we're able to largely mitigate that so that those are few and far between.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge Kutry. You know, our agency has just become very adept at dealing with difficult circumstances, and it's been quite a trial the last few years. So thank you for the report. And I'll move now to Judge Rebecca Bach, our supervising administrative law judge for appellate operations, to give her report on the state of our appellate workload.
Thank you, and good morning. In December of 2024, well, to meet the Department of Labor guidelines, we are to close 50% of our cases in 45 days. And in December, we closed 65.4% of our cases in 45 days, bringing the Department of Labor year average to 73.1. We're also, to meet guidelines, supposed to close 80% of our cases in 75 days. In December, we closed 90% of our cases in 75 days, bringing our year total to 94.5. So to kind of tie in some retrospective into that, I will let you know that our time-lapse measures have improved by more than 25% from where they were December 2023 to December 2024. And another number that the Department of Labor looks at is case aging, how long a party has to wait for their hearing. And for the month of December, our case aging was 42.5. Department of Labor standard is 40, so she was just a little bit above it. To give some perspective on that one, in December of 2023, our case aging was 82.6, so it's approximately half as it was a year earlier. And also the case aging average for higher authority on a national level, for second level authority, is 149 as of the last date I have is October of 2024. So those are those numbers. Also, in retrospect, for the year of 2024, second level has closed 13,660 cases. Very strong number. And that's my report, so I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Judge Bach. And so I'll turn to our Vice Chair, Monning, and ask if she has any questions.
Thank you, Chair Allen. No questions, but thank you again for providing that data from the year and the national data, and it shows again how great the work is being done at AO, and I think everyone should feel very proud of that. Thank you.
Member Ng?
No questions. And again, thank you for your report.
Member Wachowski?
I can't praise the work of AO enough. It just one meeting, so I'll just leave it at that, Chair Allen.
And Judge Bach, we're so very grateful for your ongoing assistance and also sometimes helping us with the very more difficult cases at times. It's always helpful to have other eyes and other perspectives when we look at some of these cases that are close calls. So thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. So having said that, let me move on to the report from our Acting Chief Information Officer on the update of where we are with our Information Technology Branch.
Good morning. On the sort of branch business front, we are filling quarterly reports to state control agencies that shows progress towards our department's plan of action to meet state IT goals. In our ever-changing environment, we've had several very good months on the security front. No particular incidents, and our efforts to strengthen our systems and keep all of the infrastructure current with the technological advances is going along very well. On the software front, CAMS, our case management system, we continue to implement enhancements that were left for us by the vendor. We're doing that in phases. And additionally, our homegrown efforts to respond to needs that are unfolding as we go along to improve workflow, and particularly public engagement online. We have a lot of content in these releases to improve the online experience and make it more powerful. So that essentially sums it up.
Could you enlarge a little bit on the enhancements, just to refresh my memory of what we're working on for the enhancements?
One of the things we are working on is improving the engagement with EDD to improve our data so that we're able to do a better job matching the public participants to their case data. Additionally, we are doing several enhancements which will make it easier for particularly the employer community to be able to engage online with us. They are not yet as well served as the individual claimant community, and we are working to improve that. And I'd say probably the third thing would be towards the claimant community. We are trying to make the website itself that people log into for our portal experience more communicative and provide better instructions. We have a goal to reduce the amount of times that people miss their appointments by providing better information for the appointment connectivity.
Thank you for the additional details. So I'll turn to Vice Chair Monning and ask if she has any questions.
Thank you, Chair Allen. No questions. Thank you, Mark, for that report and for the ongoing work of your team with all the enhancements. Thank you.
Yes. And Member Eng
Thank you for the report. No questions.
and Member Wachowski.
I have no question. I think if we achieve the improved communications with EDD, there should be some award given. But I look forward to that.
Absolutely. So I'll turn to Robert Silva, our Chief Administrative Services Officer, for an update on our services branch for administration.
Thank you, Chair Allen. Good morning. Good morning, board members. Going to start with a hiring update. At the time of last month's board meeting, we had 4 field operations support staff recruitments that were in the name clearance phase, and we with pending a hire. 3 of those were successfully completed, and last week we welcomed those 3 new hires to our San Diego and Los Angeles offices. We added 3 additional field operations recruitments early this year, and we currently have a total of 12 pending. We typically experience retirements at the end of a calendar year, and this year was no different. We did have 3 administrative law judges retire since our last board meeting. That brought the total ALJ retirements for the current 2024-25 state fiscal year to 12. As briefly mentioned during the last board meeting, this level of attrition is tracking with our workload, as we experienced a 42% decrease in the open balance of all programs in field operations during calendar year 2024. Obviously, we keep at the same time keeping an eye on this uptick in incoming appeals that Chief Kutry mentioned a moment ago. Quick update with the language program. We do now have the results from November's audit of our bilingual employees, and all 42 that participated met or exceeded the 10% threshold standard for the utilization of their language skills in the workplace. So that's wonderful news there. Turning again to the wildfires, with the state of emergency due to the Southern California wildfires, the administration has authorized administrative time off, ATO, for employees whose normal place of business is temporarily closed, employees whose routes of transportation to the workplace are cut off, or employees for which the emergency presents immediate danger to them or their residents. Going back a couple of years, during the first couple of years of the COVID-19 pandemic, I had to provide weekly reports describing all occurrences of approved COVID-related administrative time off. With this emergency, admin will again be providing this weekly ATO reporting. There are additional data requirements for approving administrative time off during a state of emergency, and all CUIAB management in the impacted areas have been provided with instructions for their employees to follow in each case that ATO is warranted. Obviously, with the Eaton fire, the majority of the administrative time off is going to be focused around the closure of the Pasadena office last week. So far, with regard to Los Angeles and in Inglewood offices, we've had very little instances of mishaps or danger to our employees there, and we've had very little ATO with those 2 offices. As already mentioned, Pasadena did reopen yesterday after SLJ Wayland determined it was suitable to return. The building's obviously still dealing with ash and smoky environments, so we do have a meeting set up tomorrow with the property management and the other tenants in the building to basically get an update and discuss additional cleaning and HVAC, filter replacement, things like that. And I'll update Chief Kutry when that meeting is completed. And finally, each January, departments are required to engage in a drill for the California Department of Technology. in which we are required to summarize and categorize all of our information technology costs in the categories of software, hardware, licensing and maintenance, telecommunications, and position usage, both for the previous fiscal year as well as the projected categorized costs for the current state fiscal year. Our ISO, Information Security Officer, Sonia Teamer, provided me with this year's template on January 3rd, and I subsequently worked with IT management and IT procurement and completed the report on January 8th. So IT management is now finalizing the report for approval signatures, and we should have no issue meeting the February 1st deadline to submit that to California Department of Technology. And that is my report.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would ask Vice Chair Monty if she has any questions or concerns or comments.
Thank you, Chair Allen. No questions. Thank you, Chief Silva, for this wide array of report and everything that you and your team do, covering from language to offices to everything procurement. You keep everything running. So thank you and your team.
Thank you.
Member Eng.
Chief Silva, first of all, thank you for the response to my question at the last board meeting, and I think all the members got a response on the translators, and I have no further questions. Thank you.
Member Wachowski.
I have nothing helpful to ask.
Okay, thank you. I just want to commend the whole management team for the work they're doing in terms of making sure that it's a safe environment for our employees and that we're there for the people who need us during this time of crisis in Southern California. And I would turn to our council and ask whether we have any closed session items for today.
Thank you, Chair Allen. We do not.
Okay. I want to extend my appreciation that I would have preferred to be with you today physically, and I could not. So thanks to the wonders of our technology, I was able to join you today, and I truly appreciate that privilege to be able to do that. With that, we have no further business, and I'll declare this meeting adjourned with my thanks to all of you.